Mr. Humble Hippie here on natural medicines. This isn't the best video, real quick, but just a quick example. We have St. John's wort. This is extremely powerful, basically a mental drug. It can help with depression, anxiety, and a variety of other issues. Look it up, St. John's wort. This right here witch's taper, mullein. Another example of a super powerful medicine that is rarely used or known, even though it's been known for over hundreds of years. It has huge leaves and would easily replace anyone's sleeping medicine or anxiety or sedative. It's an extremely powerful sedative. We have plantain right here. This will kill mange, skin diseases, specifically for animals. Why I say this is a bad video, because all of these plants are already past their prime and have seeded out and do not look like you would possibly recognize them. Just these pods alone could probably make a flower and different things. That's just me adding to it. You could see there's still seeds in there. All of those seeds could possibly be edible. I am not suggesting that this is an edible plant as much as I am suggesting that this is actually a good plant for killing skin diseases and mites and microscopic mange, which are mites actually, and different issues that dogs would have. We have blackberries. All grass is medicinal, and you just have to learn enough about grass to understand what type of grass it is. Our wheat, our rye, obviously is grass, and we make, cereal, eat that, right? So everybody knows that, but nobody considers that that's actually grass. Corn is a grass, okay? But again, those are the easy examples. I'm telling you that all of this right here might cure your cancer. Women might use this to deal with their childbirthing issues. The values of grass are known for 1,000 years, and again, you just would have to study the particular grasses to see. You could see these taller, skinny things here are more mullein. They're typically 10 to 15 feet tall, and they grow. People might compare it to marijuana, cannabis. I would say that they are definitely in the same classification. If that's the correct word, I don't know. They're not similar in look necessarily, but there's a type of medicinal or plant identification that I follow that I believe personally the spirit and the energy and the color and the shape may describe the value of something. So if something looks like a kidney, maybe it's good for your kidneys. I didn't create this. This is an ancient idea of one of the great minds of people that we study to this day that created some of our medicines for us, and I can't name them off right now. Sorry, it's a complicated Latin name or something, but anyway, I do believe in the truth of that. And the mullein, they grow, like I said, naturally 10 to 20 feet tall. It's an extremely powerful sedative. It's an extremely powerful mental, physical body type of drug. Perfectly legal, well known for 1,000 years. Anyway, that's one to grow on. And if you didn't catch it, always be extremely careful and look all left and all right when you are doing hiking and different things. And we're going to keep this video going actually and discuss trees here for a second. A lot of trees are actually edible, even though I would never suggest you actually do that. But for science purposes or natural understanding, you can actually strip the bark off of a lot of trees and eat the Cambrian layer, which is the inner bark, which is actually more of a chewy substance that could be created into a type of pasta type of product. This right here is an acacia, or one of many types. These, watch out for snakes. very beautiful tree. You know, I'm actually confused on this particular one because I don't think that I'm really too aware of this particular. I assume that it's an acacia based on the seed pods and the yellow, but it is slightly different than most acacias. And acacias grow worldwide. They might even be an invasive tree that are only originated from Australia, and now they grow everywhere. I'm not exactly sure on that. I do know that in Australia, they are natural and they are rare, as in there are some places in Australia, there's a lot of islands in that area, that there are acacias that only grow on certain sides of the island or in certain regions that do not grow anywhere else in the world. The acacias are well, the list of different products and values that they may have, I can't name off. What I can tell you is that acacias and plants and grasses have similar values. There are minerals and medicines that are in that grass that are also in that acacia. And so if you study botany and you study natural medicine, you will come across different words and ideas or themes that are similar, even though they are a different plant classification. So there are medicines that you could make out of that you could also make out of that. You're basically extracting a product out of the plant. And that's the way a lot of plants and things are. People look at this and they think this is horrible. The sticker bush, it pokes me, I hate it. We got to get rid of it. But again, what if I told you you actually could eat this? And what if I told you, this is star thistle, by the way. Okay, it's considered an invasive plant. It's considered a noxious weed. The government hates it. The government hates this also. And again, like I told you, this is a super powerful, extremely powerful plant. Okay, I'd say 99% of the world has no idea, and the other 1% and that first 99 are not going to consume or use this. But this is more powerful or equal to marijuana, and has been probably used here in America more than and longer than marijuana. And this is man-made. Don't eat that fruit. And so the star thistle, and the way that, again, as I've mentioned in my other videos, that we would actually eat these things whether we realize it or not, is other bugs are eating these things. And the star thistle, just like this, is pollinated by bees. And a bee is going to come in here and it's going to eat the nectar and it's going to pick up mites and different things that are on these plants. And then it's going to make honey. And then we're going to eat the honey. So when we're eating the honey, we're actually eating star thistle. And so farmers and honeybee people, they know that stuff. And so they actually will label, say, star thistle honey. But if the government had their way, you would never be able to eat star thistle honey. And maybe every single person in the world will all of a sudden have a certain type of cancer. We would never have that cancer if the government didn't stop you from eating good foods that are natural, that you're supposed to, that are always healing us. You have to understand, whether you believe in any particular type of God or whatever your beliefs are, that we are from the earth and we're all the same. And the earth, the great cosmic system, and all the stars and all that stuff, these rocks, we're just all the same. And there's just different things that changed us just in the slightest bit, that made the lizard versus the human. There's just very slight little things that change, that determine which way that life form goes. And so the bee eating the star thistle allows us to get certain products that are in these star thistles that will keep us healthy. Where else are you going to get that? Well, the government says we don't need that. We could just manufacture a drug in a laboratory and we can kill this. And so the government is actually out here everywhere in the natural areas that they've actually destroyed. Remember, this is all man-made. These are man-made mountains. And they've decided that they also need to kill all the things that grow here. But think about that. Would you want to come out here and try and plant all of this? Is that what they should do? Pull up all the plants and all the trees and replant something that they like? Well, yeah, that's kind of what civilization does, and it's a very ignorant, dumb thing. And that's why we have people pouring Miracle Grow and different things on the ground in order to try and grow something. Does it look like these things need help growing? Is that your interpretation, that you think someone's out here pouring nutrients or chemicals or something on these and that's how things grow? Of course you know better. Of course they don't. Of course these things are grown by God or nature or whatever it is that you want to call it. And if that is the case, then why would you want to pull these things up? Because you don't understand them? Maybe you don't like the color red. Well, let me tell you about the color red. This is called dock right here, okay? And so this dock, again, kill your cancer. This dock right here, again, would clean your liver. This dock right here is a super food. And even though right now it's in its end stage, its taproot is probably 4 feet deep. You could never grab this and pull it up. So if you did dig it up, the dock root itself is extremely powerful and sold as a medicine. So, let me see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So what if we sold them for $1 a piece? Is that $20 or $30 worth of medicinal roots that we could sell? Yes. Is it actually 60 or 100 or a few $100 worth of medicinal root? Yes. At your local supermarket, this is for sale. But not one person out there who would buy this, or maybe that has ever heard of it, would even have any idea that it's right there. All of these seeds, yeah, bears eat those, and all sorts of stuff eats these things. And the birds, this is food. Typically, they'll have a big leaf that grows off of those. It's about 1.5 feet long by almost a foot wide. That's a huge leaf. Well, you know what? It's actually better for you than spinach. So now you've got this big, huge spinach plants just growing everywhere. That's good. That's a good thing. It provides shade, it provides shelter for other animals and insects, it provides food, it provides green. I suggest you take a big green leaf of dock, make you up some beans, and chop that leaf up or just throw it in the pot, and it will produce a sour type of taste that will be similar to a sour cream. If you like sour cream in your beans or refried beans, throw a little bit of dock leaf in there. And you will notice that it'll provide a really tangy, sour flavor. It's really astringent, I think is the word, and actually has a lot of tannins in there, which you should be warned about. If you are, again, a weak person with, bad health systems and things, then you do have to be warned about eating foods because your body can't actually handle most things. But that's you. All the rest of the world, especially younger people that aren't abused yet by the world of bad foods, should eat these things because you're just going to be strong and healthy and never have any sicknesses. It's very simple. It's extremely simple. But you have to start young. You can't just go drink a tea one day when you're feeling sick. That is just not how it works. Preventative foods are microdose foods. That means that you eat berries, you eat nuts, you eat natural vegetables and things. But you cannot just go eat a carrot and now you're going to see better. It's just not how it works. It's unfortunate, but it's just not how it works. So, eat whatever you eat, but think about that every day when you're doing something, that you're actually providing your body with little teeny micro doses of medicine. And you will probably never have to go to a hospital. It's that simple. But please believe, everything has its value, and you just have to know what it is and how to prepare it in a certain type of way. Or, as I have suggested, maybe the bees or the other bugs or things that are actually eating that plant. If you ate that thing like the deer or a cow, then yes, you are in fact getting the benefits from the grass the cow ate. And this is the simple answer as to how we are all able to eat everything that we don't eat. And that is the simple answer as to how drug manufacturers manufacture their drugs so we can eat those pills to become healthy, because they understand that they can take these extremely toxic things and manufacture them into small microdoses that our bodies can handle. Something I find fascinating all the time is these trees with these extreme thorns. I personally would argue with people that state that natural defense mechanisms are in place. I don't really know about that. I'd like to argue on both sides of people that believe God provided everything and the people that believe everything just is. And what I mean by that is that both parties kind of have a undocumented, unproven belief system that says, like humans, for instance, we have no sharp teeth in order to defend ourselves from some type of predator. We don't have sharp we don't have defense mechanisms. And so an animal has claws, for instance, or a plant has thorns on it, and it's speculated that the plant has a particular smell or thorns or something that stops other bugs or something from eating it. And I just don't believe that that is true. And so that would be the science belief. The scientist would say, let's say the left and right side of the fence. The right side of the fence is the scientist, and they say, well, this tree has certain defense mechanisms that stop certain birds and things from eating it, and that's why it's got toxic seeds, or it's got the, spikes or something on it. And this is mullein, by the way, and this is a super, super, super powerful plant. Please believe that is equally powerful to marijuana. Maybe not produce the same results, but it's an extremely powerful plant. Be warned. So anyway, back to my belief point system. I do not believe that actually things have natural defense mechanisms. How about the word coincidence? So let's say a badger has claws. Well, if the badger clawed at you, you would get ripped open. Our skin's very soft. And so it's easily speculated that the badger has claws to defend itself from humans. Well, maybe that's just a total fantasy speculation, and maybe the badger has claws so it can dig. Maybe that's a total crazy speculation. Think about that for a second. Do you believe in God or do you believe in nature, right? Because these are really huge factions of people, right? Most of the planet, we've all discussed this, whether you believe in God or creation or the Big Bang Theory. This is a real serious debate, and it defines how we came here and how we came to be. And when I say we as humans, well, there's people who think there's aliens. There's people who think that, all life forms are equal. So again, to not get into one camp or the other, I think both sides have extremely valid points. And in 2019, which it's almost 2019, it's 2018, these things have not been determined yet, and I would not take the side of science, and I would not take the side of religion, because I think they're both very valid. I would say I kind of believe more in religion, and the Big Bang Theory could be religious versus just pure science. And the pure science, in my opinion, like a zoologist or a taxonomist or people that study the roots and origins of plants and animals, would say, like I said, that the claws or the thorns on a plant are made or created to defend themselves. And when you look back in history, it shows that these plants or those animals, in fact, did not maybe have those things. Well, they also say the same thing for humans. They try and go back in history and show that actually my skin is different colored than somebody else's skin somewhere else, and that interpretation or that actual visual verification is proof to show that actually we are two different types of humans. And so, not to offend anybody, but there are people then therefore that would say our president of the United States is a different type of human than I am because we have a different color of skin. Well, geographically, our older president, Obama, actually has hidden his origins. He was born in the hospital of Hawaii, but his father was a CIA agent from Kenya. And so they state that, okay, well, his origins are Kenyan. But the same government, the federal government, states that all people with dark skin are actually called African Americans. But that's clearly not true because, they were born in, say, Alabama. You were not born in Africa. You are not from Africa. But again, these people who need to define things state, no, 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 no. Well, we just have to go back in history, and that's what we're going to use for documentation. Okay, well, the same reasoning. I'm still on point here. Is that these plants? They're trying to say that possibly this plant used to just have this nice little round thing here. Okay, and then one day, bugs or cows or humans or something came along and started messing with the plant. So the plant decided it needed a defense mechanism. So it grew out these thorns. And now, ow, 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 I don't want to touch it anymore. Okay, so it is now defending itself. That's just fantasy. That is just not true. When is the last time you saw a human grow claws out of its hands in order to protect itself? It's just not true. There is no one in the whole planet of United States or in United States of America or any doctor or biology or anywhere that can tell me what my fingernails are even for. Why do we have these things? If you were to talk to a doctor would explain to you that actually humans are born with tails. Humans are born with 3 nipples, okay? And I'm not saying all humans. Of course, hey, I don't have a tail. What are you talking about? Look it up. I'll bet you one of your neighbors has a tail. Is it a real tail like the dog? Or is it just a little nub? These things are unexplainable. There are humans that are born with other bodies in them. Twins, for instance, Siamese twins. There are, a multitude of different deformations and mutant type of things. Mutant is real. Mutant is not a religious belief. It is not a thing that's always been there. See, the star thistle, as far as mankind has always known for all of our lifetimes of documentation, this plant has always been like this. But they would tell you that this is a defense mechanism. I would say, no, it's not. That's just a coincidence. They say, oh, but that stops certain things from eating it. Those things would never have eaten it. That never happened. There never was a time when they were eating it, and now they are not eating it. So these are just made-up opinions that might make sense, but they're still an opinion. There's just absolutely fantasy. There's just no documentation there. And it's the same with the Big Bang Theory. They go, okay, well look, there's stars everywhere, and stars are rocks and minerals and gas and freezing and all this stuff, and when this bangs into that, it causes friction, which causes heat, which then causes a reaction of other minerals and organisms to now be warmed up. And in a chemistry laboratory, you can show and we can prove and we can document as a fact that when you put something in a pot and you put water in the pot and then you put heat on it, we have now changed the product. We call that cooking. So everybody understands how manipulation and things work. But again, nobody can actually say that that pot created itself, that product got in the pot, and the water naturally did it all, and that these things are a defense mechanism. That's just not true. Things are whatever they are. And I think that is actually more the religious belief, is that we are all created by God as is. Whether we have white, black, dark, green skin, claws, tails, 3 teeth, or no eyeballs, we are all created in the eyes of God for the reasons that nature wants us to be. Look at this. This is horrible, right? This is a walking trail. How would you like to step on this? You're like, oh, I'm just talking about God and loving nature, and I'm out here, and now you're seriously injured. You get tetanus, you have lockjaw, and you can never talk for the rest of your life. Okay? These are very serious. Remember, in the middle of a trail. That could have been a snake, or it could have been this. And people flick their cigarette butts. This is how people lose their lives. They go, oh, whatever, I'm just a dumb kid. I flick my cigarette butt. That's what my dad taught me. Okay, well, you know what? You're the person who burned down these thousands upon thousands of acres and mountains and people's houses and everything. It was your fault. Okay, you could have put it out. Could have put it in your pocket. Anyway, just in case we got off track a little bit, my belief is there is no defense mechanisms. We are born however we are born. All plants and things are how they are. I do not necessarily believe in evolution. I do not believe that we change. I have never witnessed this in my lifetime, and I don't believe these things have ever been properly documented. I do not believe in evolution because I don't think that it's real. What I do see and what I do witness is very similar, identical things that are slightly different. And that means a fly that is black might actually be a red fly. I saw a pink praying mantis yesterday. I'm pretty sure most people would say they were green. However, again, I would debate that it was actually salmon color. So, would you put your life on the line on that? Would you document a book stating that you were a professional, knowledgeable person, and you put your reputation on the line to say that praying mantises are green? Because I have a video that says they're salmon colored. My point is, does the scientist say that the praying mantis is pink because it has adapted to its climate? Or would the scientist maybe acknowledge that maybe there are pink praying mantises and there are green praying mantises? Or maybe science probably documents and shows that in fact the praying mantis insect itself changes colors on a regular, possibly daily basis based on its nutritional diet. These things are totally possible. We turn yellow, we turn blue. Did you know humans can turn blue? Yep. It's called argria, and it's caused from eating basically micro doses of silver. It's a pretty common known thing, and that is the term blue blood. Humans and royalty of the Europeans specifically, again, indigenous peoples, to clarify, I've never had any diseases or problems or anything. Anytime I'm having all these conversations that are 100% for so-called civilized races. Uncivilized races are the healthiest people of the planet. It's the civilized people that have quit eating their natural diets and their lifestyles in the way that the nature or God created, and decided that they in fact are the God and that they can create medicines and things to keep them alive indefinitely. Like this nail. So anyway, that's going to cause them problems. And so again, I don't believe in evolution. Even if you can show me some monkey or some half humanoid looking thing that pretty much looks like a human to me, but it's kind of crouched over and it's got, knuckles dragging on the ground. No, maybe that person's just retarded. Maybe there's a problem with that person in the deformity because the mother and the father ate Wonder Bread every day and Diet Pepsi. And so their children grew up to have, when they were born, they, had missing limbs and they have deformed head and they can't speak properly. That's kind of human caused. It's not caused by God. It's not just you were blessed with some new type of life form. It is because you're actually a dirty person that doesn't take care of yourself, and you were blessed with the ability to raise and birth a child, and you decided to take drugs or eat unhealthy. Like I said, Wonder Bread and Diet Pepsi it's unhealthy. You can hate me all you like. You're never going to read this video or see it if you're that type of person. But it's true. And so you are the fault of your children being raised that way or being born that way, not God. Don't blame God. Don't think, and also don't turn it around into, all my children are mentally disabled. I was blessed by God with this hardship to overcome. That's not true. You're just lying to yourself because you were a bad person. You were an unhealthy person, and you should have never taken advantage of your God or the fellow human race or anyone by birthing something that was so gross and disgusting that nobody wants to take care of it or be a part of it. And that is why in history and in nature, that gross, weird, deformed thing that you call your child, it would be killed, okay? Please accept that in reality. In the nature of the world and in survival, that person would be killed. All indigenous people would take that deformed person out to somewhere and leave it to die because it is a burden on their society and it is not natural. It is an accident that was created by your birthing. So don't create new life forms. Those are mutants. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't love your children. It just means that it's your fault. Don't try and blame it on God and tell everyone it's a blessing. Accept it.
Hey, my kids are deformed because I ate Wonder Bread and Pepsi. But I love my children. I'm going to take care of them the best I can. Okay, that's wonderful. That's a wonderful belief, and you keep doing that. Of course, in modern day civilization, we would never, take our children out to a field and leave them. But we were all raised on this belief that, or understanding that this was actually traditional European philosophy. Hansel and Gretel and all of these things depict these stories of people in the older days. They would just take their kids out and leave them. They would abandon them. This was very common. And again, my point and themes on all of these things is how we get different types of humans. And in that case, it's a mutant. And mutants, just like the guy in the wheelchair, Stephen Hawkins, okay? He's a blithering, babbling idiot type of person. He can't speak properly. You wouldn't understand him if he was trying to talk to you. He looks all weird and deformed and scary looking. I know that all sounds rude, but let's just be realistic here. I'm just talking on a video. I don't have to really concern about what anyone thinks about what I say. He would be taken out to a field and left to die, and the animals would have eaten him. Okay, in a older time period where we didn't have welfare and government social groups and things to pay for all of your problems. Okay, now, as we all know, he is actually a super intelligence person that has created concepts and ideas that might change our whole world. And which is another point that I want to make about mutations and their value. And so we've all seen this scientific sci-fi movie where you take the brains out of people and you put them in a glass jar or something, because our brains are very powerful. And so maybe mutants like Stephen Hawkins, as a fact, might have extreme value still in a mental state of ability. Maybe as a computer, if we used him as a programming product, which is what his only value is. He's just a lump of meat, okay, in a wheelchair. He's a serious burden. I'm sure he would tell you that, honestly. And at the same time, though, his thinking, processing, and ability is beyond the average human. And it's not beyond the average human, it's just that he comes up with ideas that average humans have not. Maybe he's been allowed to speak while the other people's ideas, like myself, have never been breached or approached by people who would listen. Again, I wouldn't say that, he was some new life form type of person. I would just say it was a coincidence. And I think that there's values in everything, and that was kind of the point on that, So, no, you shouldn't just go get rid of things. But don't believe that, God created defense mechanisms, and don't believe that, you're going to actually grow 3 arms in the next 20 years because we evolve, and, 3 arms would help us, dig a hole better or climb better. That's just not true. So, when we find humans that have 3 arms, it's called a mutation. It's not called an evolution. And that's one to grow on. Get out there and enjoy your God.